Welcome back, Devils fans, and probably some Rangers fans. It's your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button, smash the like, share with a friend. Thank you very much. And tomorrow night, my friends, January 9th, live from the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden, will be the latest chapter in the Hudson River rivalry. The New Jersey Devils heading across the river to take on the New York Rangers. And folks, I am beyond jacked for this one. This one has all the makings of an absolute playoff-style war. For a quick recap, for those that don't remember, obviously the New Jersey Devils dispatched the New York Rangers in the 22-23 playoffs in the Eastern Conference quarterfinals, the first round, in a beautiful 7-game series. Devils fell down 0-2, had to make a goaltending switch, went to Akira Schmid. He goes to the Garden, wins 2 huge games on the road, comes back, wins Game 5. They lost Game 6 at the Garden, and then come back for the ultimate Game 7 showdown. Devils prevail, and what a beautiful series it was. Watching all the Rangers fans leave the Prudential Center in droves was phenomenal, and if you haven't seen some of those videos, check those out on the channel. But that was kind of, in my opinion, the revitalization of the rivalry. It seemed a little stale for some time. That playoff matchup brought it right back. We head out into the summer, into the 23-24 season, and the rivalry hit another level. For those of you that may not be aware or don't remember, a quick kind of recap, refresher. New York Rangers forward Matt Rempe, a throwback kind of player, very physical, an enforcer type. I root for guys like this. I really do. I root for guys like this in the league. They are a dying breed. And while he's on the Rangers, I think most NHL fans would be lying if they wouldn't love to have him or a guy like him on their team. Now, plays outside the lines a little bit, does some dirty stuff, gets carried away. We'll get to that in a little bit. But in that 23-24 season, last season, Matt Rempe lands a questionable hit on Nathan Bastian of the Devils in a game at Prudential Center that left him bloodied on the ice. Now, you know, a lot of people thought it was a very egregious, cheap hit. I think this one is kind of borderline. Some of his other hits are way more blatant. This one I thought was questionable, but he leaves Bastian bloodied on the ice. And then Jonas Siegenthaler comes over to try to defend Nathan Bastian's honor, and he gets quickly pummeled to the ice by Rempe in what was a very sad show for the New Jersey Devils. To be beaten constantly by the Rangers on the scoreboard and then to be physically beaten in this fashion left a bad taste in all the fans' mouths and left a bad taste in the mouth of Devils general manager Tom Fitzgerald. I think that was the final straw. He realized the team was too weak, not enough bite, not enough tenacity, and he went out and he acquired the toughest man in the National, Kurtis McDermid from the Colorado Avalanche. I applauded this deal when it happened. He brought an element that was very much needed, as evidenced by this first game where Rempe just ran amok. Completely wild stuff. We get McDermid. The next game, Devils-Rangers at the Garden, everyone's thinking Kurtis McDermid is going to get some payback. Everyone thinks he's going to get some payback. And what happens early in the game? Matt Rempe does the chicken wing elbow to Jonas Siegenthaler. Again, Siegenthaler targeted for a second time. Chicken wing elbows him right in the head. McDermid was on the ice. McDermid immediately goes after him. The refs break it up. And then Matt Rempe clownishly does the little glove wave as he's exiting the ice. I mean, completely deplorable. And now the rivalry is at a fever pitch. I think fans on both sides are getting super into it. And this is wild stuff. A chicken wing elbow, another game ejection, and he waves at McDermid. Payback is not given. Payback is not given in this game. And then we get to the final chapter. The final chapter, a glorious evening, April 3rd, 2024 at MSG. Off the opening face-off, everyone knows it's going down. Rempe and McDermid both start in the game. The puck drops, and the infamous line brawl breaks out. The main event being Matt Rempe versus Kurtis McDermid at center ice, and then 4 separate scraps. Every guy on the ice with their mitts off, just chucking them. Absolutely love to see it. A very rare moment in hockey, and it went pretty viral, I would say. It crossed, outside of hockey circles and was sort of mainstream. You don't see a line brawl too often. It was absolutely phenomenal. I was fired up. I think it, brought the rivalry now to just off the charts level. And it was beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful times. And now we come to this season, the 24-25 season. We have not seen quite the tenacity in the absence of Matt Rempe. Matt Rempe is good for the rivalry. We haven't seen him yet. And the Devils and Rangers first played this season. The schedule makers made us wait way too long, in my opinion. They first play on December 2nd at Madison Square Garden, and the New Jersey Devils deliver an absolute beating of the New York Rangers, coming out with a 5-1 victory. Jack Hughes with another monster game against the Rangers, registering 2 goals. Dougie Hamilton, Mercer, and Bratter also getting on the board in the 5-1 victory. Chris Kreider scoring the lone Rangers goal on the power play. But an absolutely masterclass by the Devils, beating the Rangers 5-1. And one of the more hilarious things coming out of that beatdown was New York Rangers homer broadcaster Steve Valiquette crying tears, just talking about Instagram hockey. The legend of Instagram hockey was born during this game. And for a quick refresher, again, for those of you that may have forgot or may have missed it, here's the origin of Instagram hockey, courtesy of Steve Valiquette.
2 breakaways in the period, and this is the one I don't like. I don't like that because Hughes set out to embarrass Shesterkin there by slowing down and going to one hand. And that should send a shockwave to everybody on the bench. I know in my day that Colt Norr would have been hanging over the bench, banging his stick, saying, "I'm coming after you," because you tried to embarrass us. And that's blatant disrespect, and I'm sort of surprised I didn't see a response from the team that way.
Is that how you read it? I'm interested to hear more about that. Like, what did you read about that body language or that moment? Because maybe it was he just knows that Igor's really good on breakaways and didn't want to shoot right away.
No, he's had success against Igor, playing him straight up. And I thought he slowed down. He wanted to put a fancy move on. It was more Instagram hockey than intense hockey. There wasn't much of a back check, so that allowed him to do it. But I'm looking at him going like this and doing what in a practice a goalie would get mad at a teammate for doing, saying that would never happen in a game. When was the last time you saw somebody one-hand score like the Forsberg move?
Right.
In a game. Yeah. Not a shootout, but in a game.
Right.
And I think that the Rangers should be upset about that.
Man, what a horrible take. Valiquette was ripped mercilessly by all types of former players and other media members. Horrible take. A lot of the broadcast crews around the league are somewhat homers, including our own beloved Ken Danico and Bryce Salvador. But with that being said, there's an acceptable level of homerism, and Steve Valiquette just blasted right on past that thing. I mean, this was completely maniacal, horrible take, and he was justifiably ripped for it. It is what it is, but Instagram hockey will live on forever, so thank you to Steve Valiquette for that. And then we fast forward a few weeks later, we get to the second matchup on the season of the Devils and Rangers, and that one took place December 23rd at the Prudential Center, and the New Jersey Devils deliver yet another absolute beating, shutting out the Rangers 5-0. Rangers registering only 12 shots on goal, giving Jacob Markstrom back-to-back 12-shot shutouts. You absolutely love to see it. Jack Hughes with yet another 2-goal game. Timo Meier, Stefan Nason, and Dawson Mercer also registering goals in that one. And an absolute 5-0 beatdown. 5-0 beatdown. And during the third period, while it was 4-0, the New Jersey Devils decided to troll the Rangers a little bit on the scoreboard, replaying a once viral video clip from the New York Rangers draft party when Capo Caco and Jack Hughes were going to be drafted. The Rangers were foolishly applauding after the Devils picked Hughes at number 1 because they delusionally convinced themselves that Capo Caco was the better player. And so they're clapping when the Devils picked Hughes because that meant they were going to get Capo Caco. Obviously, that aged like milk in the sun, baby. That one aged horribly, and the Devils wanted to remind them of it on the scoreboard. And here's that moment.
Program, Jack Hughes. Make some noise!
Absolutely hilarious stuff from the arena production team from the Devils. Absolutely just epic levels of trolling. I'd love to see it. I was going nuts. I was at the game, and I took that video that I just showed. Beautiful moment in the arena. Got the nice smile out of Jack Hughes. And so now we fast forward to a little bit later in the season. Matt Rempe currently serving an 8-game suspension for yet another dirty hit against the Stars, was suspended 8 games. And coincidentally, by stroke of luck, by fate, by the hand of the hockey gods. The first game he's available to play is against the Devils tomorrow night, January 9th. However, it seemed as though Matt Rempe was headed back to the Hartford Wolfpack with the AHL to continue to work on his game and, improve before the Rangers would consider giving him another look on the big club. However, again, by a stroke of luck or the invisible hand or the hockey gods interfering once again, Chris Kreider is injured and put on injured reserve. And what does that mean? Oh, you know what that means, my friends. The road has been paved for Matt Rempe to return to the New York Rangers lineup tomorrow night at Madison Square Garden against the New Jersey Devils. What a plot line. What an absolute plot line. And while it's still not confirmed if he will play or not, a lot of people want to see him play. A lot of people are speculating that he will play. But longtime Rangers reporter Larry Brooks is a massive Matt Rempe fan, and he also wants to see him in the lineup against the Devils. He also seems a little salty against the New Jersey Devils as of late. Let's take a look at what Brooksy had to say yesterday.
All right, so in Kreider's place, Matt Rempe has been called up, and he'll be eligible to play on Thursday, not tonight because of that suspension. Do you think this gives him a real shot to get established in this lineup, not constantly bouncing back and forth between the Rangers and Hartford?
Well, I sure hope so. I've talked about this so much. I've written about this so much. I thought he should have been in that lineup from game one every night. So I hope that he plays on Thursday. Now, they have another forward, too. They picked up Arthur Kaliev on waivers, and they're going to want to get him into the lineup. I think at some point. He hasn't played. He came back from a broken clavicle. He played a few games in the American League. He skated this morning at the rink, so he may be ready to go on Thursday night too, and I think the Rangers will want to get him in as quickly as they can, so that would mean another player coming out of the lineup. So I'm not sure, but all I know is that the Devils humiliated the Rangers twice. They played them twice. They've been humiliated by New Jersey twice. The entire organization, the New Jersey organization, humiliated the Rangers the last time in New Jersey. The social media stuff on the scoreboard. And we know from last year's experience that Matt Rempe is a difference maker against New Jersey. So I would be, I don't know if I would be surprised, because I'm been surprised by a lot of things this year, but I would be very, very disappointed if Rempe is not in the lineup on Thursday. And then it's his obligation to be able to control himself. It is, he cannot pick up another, suspendable offense, or he'll be gone. He'll be out of the league. And we know the way the league officiates him. He's treated differently than anyone else. But he has to be aware of that now. There are lines he has to stay within. But to me, Matt Rempe on Thursday night against New Jersey is an automatic. I hope the Rangers see it that way.
I thoroughly enjoyed that clip. Amongst some of the quotables from Brooksy there was the Devils humiliated the Rangers twice. The New Jersey organization humiliated the Rangers. The social media stuff on the scoreboard. He claimed Matt Rempe is a difference maker against New Jersey. He would be very disappointed if Rempe isn't in the lineup Thursday. And then he goes on to cry about how Matt Rempe is treated unfairly, et cetera, all of which I don't believe. I just think, the guy's doing dirty stuff and he's getting penalized for it and suspended accordingly. It is what it is. He's got to figure out how to play within the rules of the game. I do think he could be a valuable piece for the Rangers going forward. Like I said, I'm rooting for the kid because he's bringing throwback hockey. He's bringing it back to the league. He really is. There's not a lot of guys like him. I think they have a place in our beautiful game. I root for guys like that, and while I hate him because he's a Ranger, like I said earlier, I think every fan of almost every team in the league would be lying if they said they wouldn't love him on their team or a guy like him. Brings the excitement, brings the energy, has to figure out how to tone it down. But there we have it. Will we see Matt Rempe in the lineup tomorrow against the New Jersey Devils? Furthermore, I am hoping that General Sheldon Keefe, regardless of whether Rempe's in the lineup tomorrow or not, Kurtis McDermid must play at MSG tomorrow night against the New York Rangers. I repeat, Kurtis McDermid must play against the New York Rangers tomorrow night. The X factor, the ultimate X factor in wars like this, physicality, violence. McDermid got to be out there. And I do think, if I had to bet, I would think that the Rangers are going to put Rempe in. And that means McDermid must play. If McDermid's not in the lineup tomorrow, I'm going to be furious. I'd be furious if Rempe doesn't play and McDermid's not in the lineup. That would make me furious. But if Rempe's in the lineup and McDermid doesn't play, then I'm going to be off the charts furious. It's got to happen. But aside from the rivalry and the bad blood and all the fisticuffs, this is a huge game for both teams. And speaking of fisticuffs, I forgot. In that second matchup a couple weeks ago at the Prudential Center, we did see two bouts. We saw Paul Cotter take on Vinny Trocheck, and then a little bit later we saw Brendan Dillon versus Carrick. Two pretty decent scraps. I'm hoping we see some good ones tomorrow night, and I'm hoping one of them is the main event we all want to see the rematch of. The highly anticipated rematch, Kurtis McDermid versus Matt Rempe round 2 in Instagram Hockey round 3. We're now in the third chapter of Instagram Hockey this season. Would love to see it. But again, aside from all of that and the sidelines and the side stories, huge game for both teams. Massive game for both teams. The Devils just snapped a 4-game losing streak, beating the Kraken in a very tight one in Seattle to close out their West road trip. And it was a bad road trip, obviously. Snapped a 4-game slide. They need to continue improving. And the Rangers have struggled for the majority of the season. They came out of the gates pretty good. They've struggled since. And their playoff hopes are in jeopardy. Their playoff hopes are in real jeopardy. We take a look at the standings. And you see the New Jersey Devils second in the Metro with 53 points with a 25-15-3 record. Second in the Metro, and you look at the Rangers, they are clawing for their playoff lives here, my friends. They are 18-20-2 with 38 points in 8th place in the wild card race, but if you look, they are only 4 points out of that second wild card spot. I've said this time and time again throughout the season. I will never count the New York Rangers out as long as they have Shesterkin. He's currently injured. Quick is a very serviceable backup, but Shesterkin's not going to be out for too long. Shesterkin is an X factor. He is an elite goalie. He is capable of stealing games. He is capable of stealing playoff series. And I have to believe the Rangers make a push in the second half of the season. I really do. I just can't see a Shesterkin-led team missing the playoffs. I can't. And I think Devils and Rangers both being in the playoffs is good for the sport. It's going to be interesting to see how they respond and how they play in the second half. But if I had to bet on it, I still think the Rangers make the playoffs. I really do. I just can't see it not coming together. But who knows? A lot of Rangers fans that I am friends with are super down on the team, and they text me funny stuff all the time. Rangers just lost a brutal one after leading the Stars 3-0. They end up losing in overtime. I mean, wow. That is a kind of signature thing of a bad team. To blow 3-0 leads, very unacceptable. But the Rangers did pick up the loser point in that one. But they are looking to fight and claw their way into a playoff spot. Devils firmly in one at the moment. I would love to see these two teams meet up in the playoffs once again. Devils-Rangers playoff series are always just hockey theater. Absolute theater. Love the playoff matchups when they happen. And who knows, maybe we will see another one this year. But I am super jacked for this game. A regular season game of this magnitude doesn't come around too often, in my opinion, because of the anticipation of Rempe returning, the possible McDermid-Rempe rematch. A huge 2 points on the line for both teams. The Devils desperately need the win, as do the Rangers. And this one is going to play like a playoff war. I fully expect this one to have elements of the old game. Lots of hitting, lots of chippiness. I expect a lot of little skirmishes and scrums after whistles, crashing the net, maybe getting in the goalie's kitchen. And I'm pumped for it. I haven't been this pumped for a regular season game in at least a few weeks. I've been getting fired up. The New Jersey Devils are playing much better than last season. If you've been watching me, you know that I am super high on this team. I love the roster construction. They have been heavier, edgier, more violent in some games. And while they've gotten away from that as of late, I hope it returns. And there's nothing like a Devils-Rangers game at the Garden to just re-energize the group because they need it. We need to get back to that lockdown defense. And hopefully this is a great game for the Devils to snap out of the slump. And hopefully they improve to 3-0 on the season against the Rangers. But let me know what you think about the game coming up. Devils and Rangers fans, I'm sure, are going to be commenting on this one. Let me know what you think about anything I said in this video. Anything, everything Devils hockey, throw it out there in the comments. I enjoy talking to all of you, but this one is going to be a big one. I am fired up. I will probably be back for a pre-pregame live for this special one, and I'll also be doing a post-postgame live. And my friend Ranger fan Chris will be back in the building for the post-postgame live. If you're not familiar with that, after every game I do a live show. Typically when the MSG broadcast goes off the air, so for a 7 o'clock game, it's roughly 10:15. If you haven't checked one of those out, check it out. They're pretty fun, especially when the Devils win. And I'm sure there'll be some Ranger fans in there as well, especially if the Rangers win. And Ranger fan Chris will be in the building to watch this one with me and to take part in the post-game live. I will see you all soon working on tons of stuff. I have the Jamie Langenbrenner interview premiering Friday. Check that out on the channel. Pretty good conversation with former New Jersey Devils legend Jamie Langenbrenner. It was thrilling for me to do that interview, one of my highlights with the channel thus far. And I'll be back, guys. Lots of stuff. I am pumped for this one. I will see you all soon. Thank you all so much for watching. I love you all. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go Devils.